Okay, I have another Nightmare on Elm Street theory, and I want to put a couple of disclaimers on this one because I am talking about what religion seems to mean within the fictional world of Nightmare on Elm Street, not making a sweeping statement about religion in the real world. And I'm also talking about my reading of the movies, not claiming I know what Wes Craven or any of the other filmmakers secretly intended. Okay? We got that out of the way. Because I think Freddy might be a parody of religious authority, and the more Nightmare movies I watched, the more I started noticing just how much religious imagery is everywhere. Freddy is clearly a Catholic. Crosses, churches, nuns, consecrated ground, demons, souls, resurrection, judgment, damnation. The franchise is drowning in religious iconography. But then the weird part is, where the hell is God? The Nightmare universe is definitely supernatural. Demons exist, souls exist, magic exists. Freddy can come back from the dead, but there is never really a divine higher power stepping in. Nobody prays to God and gets an answer. Nobody gets saved by a miracle. And in Dream Warriors, they actually have to bury Freddy on consecrated ground, and they have to consecrate it themselves. There's even a priest there, but nobody says, "Hey, Father, we're dealing with a supernatural child murderer. Want to help us out?" Nope. They deal with it themselves. And the consecrated ground doesn't exactly remain an unassailable manifestation of God's power because Freddy eventually gets resurrected when a dog pisses supernatural fire on his grave. So, religious symbols and rituals can apparently affect supernatural effects, but God himself is conspicuously absent. And that makes Freddy really interesting as a parody of religious authority, because Freddy has basically built himself a religion. He has mythology and rules and supernatural realm, his name has power, people have to believe in him, his legend gets passed down, and the more people believe in Freddy, the more power Freddy has. He's basically an all powerful supernatural authority whose authority exists because people believe in it. Except instead of offering salvation, he tortures you. He's basically the world's worst god. And I think that's why the heroes so often defeat Freddy by figuring out his rules rather than finding a higher authority to save them. They don't need God to explain Freddy, they just need to understand Freddy. And then there's Dream Child, which gives this whole religious reading a really weird wrinkle. Someone actually commented that they saw Dream Child as a pro life propaganda film, and honestly, I think that's a fantastic reading. I can totally see what they're saying because look at what the movie does. Alice's pregnancy is dangerous. It's life threatening, not just to her, but everyone around her. Freddy is literally exploiting the pregnancy to kill people, and yet abortion isn't really treated as a solution. More importantly, the movie frames continuing the pregnancy as the right choice. And the fetus isn't treated as merely a pregnancy, it's given personhood, it has dreams and communicates and has an identity, it names itself. The movie is telling us that this is already a person, an innocent person whose existence is worth protecting at the risk of everyone's lives around it. And Alice ultimately chooses to carry that pregnancy despite the danger, and that was apparently the right answer. So, I don't know whether the filmmakers were consciously intending to make a pro life movie, and I'm not claiming that they did. But if someone tells me that Dream Child is pro life propaganda, I can absolutely see that argument. And that's particularly interesting in a franchise where religious imagery keeps showing up alongside questions about who has the right to control children's bodies, minds, and lives. So maybe Freddy isn't just a monster with religious imagery around him. Maybe he is a grotesque parody of religious authority itself. Believe in me, accept my rules, accept my power, and I'll decide what happens to you. And the Nightmare movies keep having the heroes answer, "No, I'm going to figure this out myself." Which is pretty damn interesting worldview for a franchise that puts crosses and nuns everywhere. And then there's New Nightmare, which might be where this whole theory gets really weird because eventually Freddy isn't even contained inside the story anymore. He exists because we keep believing in him.